Welcome back to the Dispute.A podcast. I'm Paul. This is episode 13. Episode 5 established that a developer's retention right, if tiered, to construction progress and self-executing. Episode 12 covered the DLD, process that ends with an official document stating the unit's completion percentage. This episode puts the actual numbers on the tiers, because once that DLD document exists, the percentage on it determines which tier you're in, and the tier determines the money. The tiers, where the project is more than 80% complete, the developer has options beyond termination. They can keep this PA alive and claim the outstanding balance from you. They can ask the DLD to auction the units to recover what's owed, or they can terminate and retain up to 40% of the purchase price. Where the project is between 60% and 80% complete, the developer can terminate and retain up to 40% of the purchase price. Where construction has started but the project is below 60%, the developer can terminate and retain up to 25% of the purchase price. And where construction has not started for reasons beyond the developer's control, the developer can terminate and retain up to 30%, but of the amounts you've actually paid, not of the purchase price. The detail most buyers misread. Look again at where the percentage is bait. In the first three tiers, the retention is a percentage of the purchase price, not of what you've paid. That distinction can be brutal for a buyer early in a payment plan. Cake a unit bought at 2 million dirhams. 30% paid 600,000, with the project past 60% complete. The developer's maximum retention is 40% of the purchase price, 800,000 dirhams. That's more than everything you've paid in. In that position, the retention can consume the entire amount paid. Only in the not started tier does the law switch the base to amounts paid, so a buyer cannot judge their exposure from the percentage alone. The exposure is the percentage applied to the right base against what's actually been paid. Three numbers, and the relationship between them is the whole position. This is exactly where episode 11's discipline comes first. Establish the real figures from the documents before deciding anything. Up to is where the negotiation lives. Now the two words in the statute that matter most for this episode. Up to. The law sets ceilings, not mandates. The developer may retain up to 40%, up to 25%. Nothing obliges them to take the maximum, and whether they do is a commercial decision made by a team. With incentives, which means it can be negotiated. Why would a developer take less than their ceiling? Because of what? The alternative costs them. Running the full process to its end takes time and administration. The refund of your excess sits on the statutory clock, up to a year from termination, or 60 days from resale. A contested exit can become a filed claim that they must defend even when they win it. And above 80%, they're alternatives chasing you for the balance, or a DLD auction with its own timeline and uncertainty carry their own costs and delays. Against all that, a cooperative buyer offers something developers genuinely value: a signed, documented, no further claims exit on an agreed figure now. A closed file and a clean unit back in inventory. You are not asking for charity below the ceiling, you are selling certainty, and certainty has a price. How the negotiation is run. Three components every time: the documented position, ledger, contract, notices, the DLD process checked for defects. So the negotiation starts from the supportable figure, not the letterhead figure. The structured proposal, a specific retention figure, a specific timeline, a full mutual release. In a document, the developer's team can take to whoever signs off, signable proposals, get decisions, vague requests get weighted out, and the credible alternative, the visible readiness to contest a defective process, or an unsupportable figure if cooperation fails, because leverage is never volume. It's the documented ability to make the uncooperative path more expensive for them. A failed attempt still leaves you the assembled record, the documented offer, and their documented refusal, all of which reshape how any later forum reads the parties. The attempt is never wasted. This negotiation is the core of Dispute.A's engagement work run under terms that tie the fee to a documented reduction against the developer's demand, half refunded if the number doesn't move. Details on the site. What to take from this episode. The tiers, above 80%, the developer can pursue the balance auction through the DLD or terminate, retaining up to 40% of purchase price, 60 to 80%, up to 40% of purchase price. Below 60% with construction started, up to 25% of purchase price, construction not started beyond the developer's control, up to 30% of amounts paid. The base matters as much as the percentage early in a payment plan. A purchase price retention can consume everything paid, up to mean ceilings, not mandates. The gap between the ceiling and the settled figure is bought with certainty. The clean, documented, cooperative exit. Next episode, the buyer who went silent, defaulted, and now wants to restructure from inside the machinery. Thanks for listening. The full transcript is at transcript.a. For pre-legal dispute support, dispute.a is where that work is done.